What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning into the channel. I'm Kevin Duffy. This is Duffy Geeks Out, and I'm coming at you with my review of episode 6 of The Rings of Power. I didn't put up a review for episode 5 of The Rings of Power because last week, with Rings of Power and with House of the Dragon, I felt like the episodes just kind of dragged on me a bit. I realized that both shows were kind of building and building and building, but nothing has happened to the plot in either show. We're still waiting on some things to fall in place in both shows, and I just didn't feel like reviewing them last week, honestly. I hit a wall with both shows, to be honest. But both shows, both Rings of Power and House of the Dragon, had killer episodes this week. I'll come at you with my House of the Dragons review sometime later today, probably. But I want to jump into Rings of Power because it's fresh in my mind because I just watched it. And this is the episode this show needed after my lull last week. I liked the show up to that point, but my lull last week, I needed some action to inject back into this series, and what an episode for that. This entire episode was pretty much nothing but a battle between the people of the village and Thorindir. I think that's the elf's name. I'm always going to fuck these things up. The problem with having so many fantasy shows going right now is I'm never going to remember any of the names of these characters because whenever I remember one from one show, I forget one from another show. It's terrible. These should have aired at different times. But anyways, I believe it's Thorindir, or is it Orendir? Whatever his fucking name is. The elf in the village defending the people there. Him and the people of the village going up against the orcs and their leader and the people of the village who have turned. And I mean, to start off the episode with that sweet scene with the tower falling on him, I thought it was awesome. And then the whole plan to set up to get the orcs when they come to the village, I knew that wasn't going to work out. But when they started picking them off and you see certain orcs getting killed, I was like, oh man, they got a real shot at winning this thing. And then when they do the reveal, it's all the villagers they're killing. That was pretty awesome, knowing that the orcs are obviously in the trees just waiting. Definitely a good back and forth between who had the upper hand in this episode. I really dug it. Numenor obviously comes in to save the day during that battle, which, again, it's one of those things you gotta suspend belief a little bit, because when you see Numenor, they're still approaching the shores of, of Middle Earth. And they said, oh, we gotta ride up the river or whatever to get and over the hills to get to the battle. We don't know their timeline, but it's one of those convenient for the show things or a movie thing where they show up just in time, as the battle really needed them. Kind of like Aragorn showing up with the dead people in Return of the King, Obviously, right when the battle's going shitty, they show up. But so they showed up, they win the day, they capture the orcs, they capture the leader, and it was fucking awesome. But it's all of it pales in comparison to the setup of the one dude walking off with the fucking sword, sticking it in that chamber lock or whatever, and opening up the floodgates, flooding the tunnels, which, again, my whole thought this time was these tunnels were being dug so that they could separate out Mordor or whatever from whatever parts of Middle Earth it touches. But holy shit was I wrong, because that fucking thing flew all the way to Mount Doom and just plummeted in there, and kaboom, the entire fucking thing explodes and covers the land in ash and molten rock, which literally makes Mordor, which is fucking rad. And again, I have a good knowledge of Tolkien. I've dived into a lot of the things that I hadn't read up on, but I've read the Silmarillion at this point. I have read the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit. I don't remember there being anything about Mordor getting made this way, but I thought it was a sweet addition to the lore if it is not in there right now. I really, really dug that, and it really sets up just an awesome thing that the heroes now are going to have to deal with. They're literally in the land that the orcs can thrive. I'm sure that whenever Sauron makes an appearance in this season, it'll probably be like a later episode reveal. Well, he'll just end up back in Mordor and like thank the dude for creating this for him, this country of his. But I really dug that. It was so fucking cool to see that happen. I don't know physics if that is possible, if the flooding of the volcano would set it off in such a way like that, but Dude, it works for me in Middle Earth, bro. I fucking dug it. I really like this episode. The question is for you guys. What did you think of episode 6 of The Rings of Power? If you were kind of wavering like I was, did it bring you back? Did you hate the show and then watch this one and think, maybe this is somewhere to go, or are you still hating it? Whatever you thought about it, let me know in the comments. Like I said at the beginning, guys, click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll come at you with another video later on. See you.